At this point, it just feels like my whole body is falling apart. And all I really want to do is eat.
I hate my life.
It was the worst feeling in the world to watch life go on around you.
Aaron Washer's weight loss journey was anything but ordinary. Imagine dealing with morbid obesity to the point where even breathing was a struggle. That was Aaron's reality. Although he wasn't in immediate danger health-wise when he sought Dr. Now's help, his physical and mental state were at rock bottom. Weighing well over 700 pounds, Aaron felt ashamed that his 76-year-old father had to take care of him. But how did things get this bad?
Life is pure torture because I'm in so much pain from all my weight pulling down on my body.
I'm putting too much pressure on my legs, my knees, and it's too much weight bearing on my back.
And I can't get around without my cane now because my legs can no longer handle all the weight. And I can't walk far before it gets to be too much for me.
Aaron's struggles began early. After his parents split up and his mom left when he was just 2, his dad got remarried. Then something terrible happened when Aaron was 9. One of his step-siblings abused him, and this went on for 2 years. Can you imagine the toll this took on him mentally? Seeking comfort, Aaron turned to food. By the time he was 10, he weighed around 230 pounds. The trauma he endured was unimaginable.
Put my weight all my life.
I have 2 older sisters and I had a very strict upbringing. My dad was in the military, so he had a lot of rules that he expected us to follow as a family, but he had a lot that were just for me.
I was probably one of the most strict fathers, and if they broke a rule, I went off the deep end with them. I would always.
Fast forward to Aaron peaking at over 700 pounds, his eating habits had rendered him immobile. He knew changes were necessary to avoid eating himself to death. On the show, Aaron admitted his life was pure torture due to constant pain. The need to be physically able to care for his father was a major motivator for him to seek help. But when his weight hit 700 pounds, it was a major wake-up call. That's when he turned to Dr. Now for help.
That depresses me. And I can't be the uncle I should,
Go play on your tablet, please.
or the brother, or even the son I should. Instead, they all have to help and take care of me.
I'm getting hungry.
I'll meet you in the living room. Okay.
And I know as long as I'm eating and getting bigger, that eventually food is going to take everything from me.
Aaron's first meeting with Dr. Now was anything but pleasant. The atmosphere was charged with disappointment rather than excitement. Dr. Now's blunt approach laid bare the harsh reality of Aaron's health, pushing him to face the truth directly. You could feel the tension in the room.
Then you're an emotional eater. So what will be the answer for you?
Take charge of my life and be able to get the help I need to lose some weight and have a healthy lifestyle.
Okay. Your eating habit, you're going to have to understand what's wrong with them. And somewhere down the line, you're going to need to see a therapist to figure out all those emotional issues that drive you to food.
At their second appointment, Dr. Now's no-nonsense approach came through once again. He was not thrilled to see Aaron had only managed to shed 22 pounds in 3 months. This was after having 1 extra month, which should have kickstarted significant weight loss. Clearly, Aaron wasn't taking his situation or the doctor's diet seriously.
We have to turn your whole situation around right now because you're very close to your body's breaking point, and it's going to give out very soon. There's a good chance that you have less than 6 months to live at this point. So it's very important that you take this seriously and you don't play any games.
During Dr. Now's confrontation, Aaron, perhaps trying to lighten the mood, chuckled about his lack of commitment to the diet plan. But Dr. Now wasn't in the mood for laughs. He laid it out straight. The surgery wasn't a magical cure. The issue wasn't the surgery, the diet, or hunger. It was Aaron himself. But was Aaron taking any of this seriously? Nope.
It's been 3 months, but today you're 696. You only lost 22 pounds in 3 months.
I'm struggling a little bit with what happened to my father. It was hard for me to deal with. And once he was recovering, I've been sticking to my diet as much as possible. I mean, I still have a little bit of problems with eating certain things like peanut butter. I'm having a hard time staying with peanut butter.
What do you mean, peanut butter?
Peanut butter on bread, it's just something.
This blunt truth didn't sit well with Aaron. Feeling attacked, he decided to storm out, ignoring Dr. Now's attempts to keep him grounded. Despite Dr. Now's efforts to reel him back in, Aaron was set on leaving. This episode wasn't just about a disagreement, it was a real-time lesson on accountability and facing the hard truths of personal responsibility in the journey of weight loss.
Sorry what you all went through, but that's no excuse to have not done the diet. And on top of that, it's been 3 months. You still had 2 months, even after all of that, to do what you're supposed to. But you didn't. What is with that?
I don't know, sir.
What do you mean you don't know? You know exactly. You don't want to do the work, and you want to blame everything else for why you're not doing it. What's the point of that?
I don't know what to say, sir.
Despite the dramatic moments, Aaron's story had a silver lining. By the end of his time on the show, Aaron had lost well over 300 pounds, making him one of the most successful stories. It's incredible to think about the physical and emotional mountains he had to climb. Watching Aaron's story, it's clear that the journey to health isn't just about shedding pounds. It's about confronting deep-seated issues and taking responsibility for one's actions.
You're becoming independent.
Yes, a lot more.
All right, let's see. So today you're down to 402. That's fantastic. You're staying on track and almost in 300s. And so far, you have lost over 300 pounds.
I can't believe it. It's really exciting.
You're doing great, and I'm very proud of you. And if you lose another 80 pounds and get into the lower 300s...
Silas Givens faced some serious obstacles due to his weight, leaving him with no mobility. Imagine not being able to take care of even your most basic needs, like bathing or going to the bathroom. That was Silas's reality. He had to rely entirely on his girlfriend Jessica for support. Tasks like bathing were too much for Jessica to handle alone, so Silas's family would step in to help. But how did he end up in this situation?
I'm so big now, I can't do anything on my own. I'm just stuck in my bed all day long. And it's been that way for me for 2.5 years. The only part of the world I can see is through my patio door. But I can't even look out and see everything and feel the sun on me unless someone opens the shades.
Silas's struggles began early in life. After his parents split up due to his dad's alcohol issues, he was raised by his mom. Things shifted again when his mom remarried, bringing 2 step-siblings into the mix. The financial strain meant they often lived in poverty. This scarcity led Silas to eat as much as he could when food was available, fearing he might not have enough in the future. Can you imagine the fear of not knowing when your next meal will come?
And it's been that way ever since. Because my childhood was rough for me.
I never knew my biological father. He was absent from my life. I never met him.
And I knew nothing about him except that he was married and had a family.
Him and my mom were just something that happened one night at a bar, and
I was evidence of an affair to him instead of his son. And that rejection did hurt, but at least I had my mom, who I knew loved me.
Living in such conditions, Silas developed an emotional reliance on food. By the time he was an adult, he weighed over 700 pounds, dependent on oxygen and confined to his bed. Originally from Detroit, Silas had a difficult and emotionally isolating childhood. He became addicted to food as a source of comfort. Wanting to improve his quality of life and enjoy a happy life with Jessica, he sought help from Dr. Now.
So I never really felt accepted by him. So I felt alone and like I didn't belong in my own family. And that just got worse over the next couple of years as I turned 11 and 12. And that's when I started finding comfort in food and eating a lot. Because when I did, it helped me feel better and like I wasn't alone. So I started eating more and more.
But let's be honest, Silas wasn't just battling the scales, he was clashing with the very people trying to help him. Silas proved to be a tough cookie for Dr. Now, making him one of the most talked about patients for all the wrong reasons. This stubbornness makes us wonder about the critical moments in his journey with Dikar now.
Doctor now told us, since I'm bedridden, that we need to go to the hospital and they'll take care of me there. So I just want to get there as fast as possible. This has been one of the most miserable and painful experiences I've ever put myself through. So I just need it to be over.
Silas should be arriving here shortly.
When Silas first arrived in Houston, he weighed 729 pounds and needed to stay in the hospital to control his diet. Can you believe losing 139 pounds in his first month with DR now? After that, he dropped another 75 pounds in a rehabilitation facility. Despite some difficulties, Silas was eventually approved for weight loss surgery and had a successful operation. He dropped to 250 pounds within a year. His achievement is nothing short of incredible.
Your breathing is a little strained, but that's to be expected. So if you're in Melbourne and you're this big, how are you eating as much as you are? Because you obviously don't get up and go to the kitchen and get your food. Somebody bring it to you.
Right.
So who bring it to you?
My fiance and our 3 kids.
3 kids? How old are the kids?
11, 9, and 7.
Okay. But your health is so bad now, and you having so much difficulty huffing, puffing.
And here's the feel-good part of the story. Silas and Jessica got married and now spend as much time as they can with their daughters in North Carolina. Before his weight loss, Silas was unable to provide for his family, confined to his bed. Now, he works as a customer service supervisor and finds joy in having a job he can actually perform. Improved mobility has opened up more options for him.
And I can't wait to start planning when I'm going to pop the question. I already have some ideas, but I want to do it just like how I imagined it and try to make it perfect. So I'm just as excited as I can be, and I can't wait. This has been a dream of mine for so long, and it's all starting to become a reality for me, and it just feels amazing. Is that a strawberry? Mm-hmm. Your favorite?
Buckle up, folks, because Tammy Patton's journey on the show is one for the books. It's packed with drama, frustration, and those jaw-dropping moments that make you pause and say, really? Tammy's heartbreaking past was the catalyst for her food addiction. She turned to food to cope with the pain she endured during childhood and gained weight uncontrollably. Left to her own devices, her food intake spiraled out of control.
Every day, I wake up desperate for a change. Because being the size I am and carrying around this much weight, my body is in constant pain because of the strain I have on it. And every day it gets worse because
Imagine being a young girl battling food addiction since the tender age of 3. By 10, she tipped the scales at nearly 200 pounds, and by her teens, her weight had nearly doubled. By the time she graduated high school, she weighed over 300 pounds. As she entered adulthood, the physical, mental, and emotional toll of her weight became unbearable. She knew something had to change.
But you know, as a kid, it was very hard. I didn't know anyone. All of our family was back in California. I didn't have any friends. So food became all I had for a while. That was how I dealt with the loneliness in my life then, by eating. And so that's when I started gaining. And by the time I was 10, I probably weighed.
Tammy's childhood was a minefield of trauma, from relentless bullying to deep loss and abandonment. She bravely shared the darker chapters of her life, including being abandoned by her father and surviving a harrowing encounter with a neighbor. The loss of her grandmother only compounded her grief, piling trauma upon trauma.
I ignored it because I was happy when she was happy. I knew that the food was hurting her. I really did. So, of course, I feel bad and guilty. And, you know, I do hold myself responsible a lot because I really didn't know what to do myself. As I got older, of course, the weight went up.
Despite everything, Tammy's mom was her pillar of strength until life's twists pulled them apart, landing Tammy in an epilepsy institution. Isolated and lost, food became her steadfast friend, offering comfort amid loneliness and a descent into depression. This pivotal moment marked a new chapter in Tammy's life, steering her onto an unexpected path.
But right after I came back, I find out that she had a drug addiction and she wanted to get help for it. So my mom went to a rehabilitation center in California. To be honest, I never knew that she was on drugs until she went to the rehabilitation center. When she left to go to California, I felt sad, I felt alone.
Determined to change her life, Tammy knew that taking her weight loss seriously and seeing Dr. Now was her last shot. In a bid for change, she sought a lifeline from Dr. Now. But here's where things got tricky. There were promises, but little follow through. Tammy's commitment to Dr. Now's diet plan seemed more like wishful thinking than real action. The gap between her intentions and her actions was glaring.
Because they're not sustainable, so if you stay on it a long time, it will work. But the problem is you can't stick to them long term because discipline is just temporary. If you don't address the root issues, you need to change. So that's the reason that never worked long term, because it's not sustainable. So what drives you to eat, hunger or habit?
Habit.
When it came time for her final weigh-in, the moment of truth was harsh. Despite her claims of progress, Tammy had only shed 2 pounds, missing the mark for qualifying for gastric bypass surgery. The ensuing clash with Dr. Now left everyone wondering whether Tammy's weight loss journey would press on.
How high her BMI is, because once it gets over 100, the strain of all that weight on her body starts to break it down to the point where her heart or her lungs or a number of things with her can start to give up. And if that starts to happen with her at any point, there likely won't be anything we can do to stop it and pull her back from that. So Tammy needs to take this very seriously because she's on a ticking clock with her body to where it could give out at any moment.
Tammy's story reached a fever pitch in a heated clash with Dr. Now. Visibly shaken, she stormed out in the middle of an appointment, perfectly capturing the frustrations of her time on the show. She weighed 594 pounds when she initially met with Dr. Now, and while under his supervision, she lost 126 pounds. After returning home, she managed to stick with her lifestyle changes and continued to lose weight.
And I feel a lot of pride for accomplishing what I have. Hopefully, it'll be very soon. Because I'm ready for it. But until I can get it, I'm gonna keep my focus on doing what I need. So I'm staying on track, no matter what. I just really hope it doesn't take long.
Ever wondered how things can go horribly wrong on the show? Well, Crystal Rollins' story is packed with quirky admissions, sugary junk food cravings, and some jaw-dropping moments. Crystal stepped into the spotlight determined to face her lifelong struggle with obesity head-on. Imagine this. Standing up was a Herculean task for her, and she'd be winded after just 45 seconds. But how would Crystal navigate this colossal challenge?
Life at my size has become a never-ending struggle. Just even breathing is a struggle. And I have to have oxygen on all the time because my weight has put so much pressure on my lungs. My lungs just can't handle my body anymore.
Crystal wasn't alone in her battle. Every superhero needs a sidekick, right? For Crystal, it was her 2 daughters cheering her on. Her struggle with the scales began early. By the age of 10, she was already pushing past 150 pounds, and by 13, she weighed between 230 to 240 pounds. Despite this, Crystal sailed through high school life unfazed by her weight, which meant the binge eating didn't let up. So, did high school graduation make her turn over a new leaf with her eating habits?
I was molested by a family member, and the horror of being molested was more than what I could deal with. And so that was one of the hardest times in my life. And through it, I just ate constantly. Whatever I could get and however much I could get, I ate it nonstop. And so that's when my weight took a big leap. And by the time I was 12, I got to about 200 pounds. Being able to escape by eating was the only option I had to deal with it.
Well, not exactly. After high school, Crystal's newfound independence meant more fast food runs and binge eating sessions. Even hitting 400 pounds didn't put the brakes on her. She moved around without much trouble and felt everything was peachy. However, her weight began to interfere, causing lung infections and other serious health issues. Now, things were getting real.
By the time I graduated, I was close to around 420. After high school, I got a job at a pizza place. I was still living with my grandmother, but I wanted to save up to be on my own. While I was working there, I started dating one of my coworkers, and I got into a decently long-term relationship with him. And eventually, he convinced me to move away with him for a while, and lived with him for a few years. And during that time, I was still getting bigger.
Realizing she had had enough, Crystal reached out to the legendary Dr. Now. Starting at over 600 pounds, Dr. Now set her on a strict 1-200 calorie diet and a daily exercise regimen, aiming for a bold 75-pound loss in just 2 months. But the big question, could Crystal stick to this rigorous plan?
Nope, I'm not riding the elevator. I'll sleep on a bed. Please put me downstairs. Please put me downstairs. I need something.
How did that happen?
The elevator dropped down when I stepped in it. I can't do the elevator. It's not happening.
Josh.
Is there...
Come her second visit, Crystal had only managed to get down to 592 pounds, missing her target by a mile. When Dr. Now called her out, she didn't hold back, responding with some choice words. Talk about a heated moment. Despite the bumpy beginning, Crystal committed to the 1-200 calorie grind. Dr. Now also suggested therapy sessions with Dr. Paradise. How would this extra help affect her journey?
So that's very risky. I see you got a lot of medical condition, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, and being on oxygen, sleep apnea, asthma. So, all right, and how mobile are you?
I mean, I can get from point A to point B. I can't get very far walking-wise, but I can walk a little distance as long as somebody has the wheelchair behind me. Like, I can walk from maybe like here to the wall.
So how long you been at this weight?
A few years I've been at least this big.
By her third appointment, Crystal was down to 543 pounds and was given a new goal. But her dreams of surgery had to be paused due to concerns over her poor lung condition. Crystal's story is a powerful reminder that the road to health isn't just about shedding pounds, it's equally about mental and emotional resilience. It's a story of ups and downs, of confrontations and commitments.
Truthfully, there is no way to determine a specific amount. Today we can see if you're caused or not, but there is no exact way that determines when your lungs are going to be healthy and strong enough. You just have to keep losing to reduce the strain on them. And when you feel you can breathe without oxygen, we can check your lung again and see if you're ready, okay?